Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Friday, April the 7th. If you hear some ambient noise, there's a little construction project next door. Sorry about that. Well, let's start with international news. In Stockholm today, a stolen truck was driven into a busy pedestrian crowd in a downtown street. 2 people were killed, a number of people were injured. This seems to be a continuation of something that's become a popular form of asymmetric terrorism. Driving trucks into big crowds of people. It happened in London, happened in Berlin, happened in Nice, happened in Jerusalem over the last year or so. It's just, I bring it up partially for an Arkansas reason. After the London episode, several Arkansas legislators went on Twitter to say, you see, this is why we needed Charlie Collins' gun everywhere bill. It would stop this sort of thing. Of course, it couldn't begin to stop this sort of thing. A lone wolf terrorist attack with a truck is not something you can anticipate, detect, or stop. We need unconventional thinking to stop unconventional terrorism, not more guns. But that's just me. The U.S. Senate today, with the filibuster rule out of the way, confirmed Neil Gorsuch to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. This is the beginning of a much different era in governance in the U.S. Congress. Will this eventually mean the end of the filibuster rule on legislation? I think that's the next big question. The big news overnight was that Donald Trump, saying he was moved by images of children who'd been gassed in Syria, sent almost 60 Tomahawk missiles into an air base in Syria to discourage Assad, who earlier had not been of great concern to Trump, to stop this sort of chemical attack in the future. We'll see how that works. Russia has reacted unfavorably, as might have been expected. If you want to look for a local angle on this story, it seems to be that the Tomahawk missiles used are completed at a plant in South Arkansas near Camden. Whether that makes you feel good or bad, I don't know, but it just happens to be so. Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, I've talked about before, on her national lawsuit-wielding agenda, is back again with a lawsuit participation in the state of Maryland. She wants to defend a so-called crisis pregnancy center. That is a place that makes it sound like it provides a range of pregnancy services when what it does is lobby women not to have abortions. It wants to protect them from a city law that says you must explain openly, in the interest of consumer protection, what your business really is. She doesn't like this. She's anti-choice, anti-abortion, and so she's busy suing in Maryland. She can't be bothered to sue a illegal payday lender in Arkansas. That would be too close to home. Well, we've talked before about the fact that Johnny Key and not the voters are in charge of Little Rock School District. He won't let the Little Rock School District have a vote on return to local control, and so we're going to have this situation for many years to come. This was illustrated again yesterday about the power key controls when it was announced that he'd given Michael Poore, the superintendent of the school district, a 2-year contract extension. Johnny Key won't answer questions about this decision, just as he won't about anything else that pertains to Little Rock School District. He's running the place. He wants you to give it $600 million more in tax money if you live in the district, but he won't take questions, and he's running the show. Some people like this. Some people prefer democracy. On the execution front, Jax Jones Jr., one of 8 people who've been scheduled for execution this month, was scheduled today for the final in a series of clemency hearings by the men who are condemned to die. He apparently has said that he doesn't want clemency. He merely applied in the first place out of solidarity with other people on death row. He killed a ball knob bookkeeper in 1995. This should mean that there now will be 7 executions in April, beginning April 17th, unless a court intervenes. One of the persons got at least a 30-day stay because the state law on the clemency process had not been completed in his case because he's been recommended for clemency. You're supposed to get a 30-day period for people to comment on such a clemency recommendation after it's given. He would have been dead before that period ended had the judge not given him a stay. If you want to read something interesting, and people are on both sides of this issue, I still think it's interesting to read. Kenneth Williams, one of the men who's scheduled to die, has written an essay that we've posted on our Arkansas blog this morning, and he's sorry for what he did, and he says, I understand that those words aren't enough for the family who've been deprived, but he wants to show that he has changed during his time in prison. Here's some good news. Why not? The Little Rock Zoo has added a female black rhino to its menagerie. They have a male rhino there now. There are only 5,000 left of them in the world. The object is animal matrimony, I suppose. We hope we can breed one to add to the world's population. And finally, before I close for the weekend, a viewer of yesterday's video asked me about my practice recently of talking about resistance at the end of the video. Resist what? He said. I think we can gather where he might be coming from, but just to make clear, resist the forces of darkness, of course, whether it's City Hall, the state capitol, or particularly in the White House of the United States of America. Resist. I'm Max Brantley.